So today we are having His Grace Bhaktivinode Prabhu to enlighten us on Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Prabhuji, are you present on the call?
I don't see him yet, Mataji. Just let's wait for like a few minutes.
Okay, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Lord Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandot Prabhu. Thank you so much for joining. Savitra Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam, all those to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining and giving your valuable association. So now I would like to hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Now you can continue class. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane. Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. So we'll start reading the verses from Madhya Lila 19:190. Sakhya Bhakta Sri Damadi Pure Bhimarjuna Vatsalya Bhakta Mata Pita Yata Guru Jana. In Vrindavan, examples of devotees in fraternity are Sridham and Sudama. In Dwaraka, the Lord's friends are Bhima and Arjuna. In Vrindavan, the devotees in parental love are Mother Yashoda and Father Nanda Maharaja. And in Dwaraka, the Lord's parents are Vasudeva and Devaki. And there are also other superior persons who are devotees in parental love. Okay, we'll read the next verse. Madhura Rase Bhakta Mukhya Brajagopi Gana Mahishi Gana Lakshmi Gana Ashankya Ganana. The chief devotees in conjugal love are the gopis in Vrindavana, the queens in Dwaraka, and the goddesses of fortune in Vaikunta. These devotees are innumerable. So I'm going to be reading the next verses as well. We'll read till the verse that talks about the universal form and about Devaki Nandama, Vasudeva and Devaki once again. Puna Krishna Ratihaya Duiti Prakara Aishwarya Jnana Mishra Kevala Beda Ara. Attachment for Krishna is divided into two categories. One is attachment with awe and reverence, and the other is pure attachment without reverence. So in the history of propagation of bhakti, there has been both actually. Bhakti with the mode of awe and reverence, and bhakti with attachment without reverence, because both exist in the spiritual realm. So Mahaprabhu's main dispensation of bhakti is bhakti in the Gokula Vrindavan, where awe and reverence is not there. In verse 193, Gokule Kevalarati Aishwarya Jnanahina Puri Dvaye Vaikuntadye Aishwarya Pravina. Pure attachment without reverence is found in Gokula Vrindavan. Attachment in which awe and reverence are prominent is found in two cities, Mathura and Dwaraka, and in Vaikuntha. Aishwarya Jnana Pradanye Sankuchita Priti Dekiyana Mane Aishwarya Kevalara Riti. When opulence is very prominent, love of Godhead is somewhat crippled. According to Kevala devotion, however, even though the devotee sees the unlimited potency of Krishna, he considers himself equal to him. So that's one thing, that in awe and reverence, we are subordinate. The servant feels subordinate because of the knowledge of the Lord. Whereas in the other devotion that doesn't have the awe and reverence, sometimes even the Lord is considered lower. For example, in parental love, they see him, even parental love, not all parental love, but just Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, they see Krishna as subordinate to him, just another child who needs help. And then all the friends of Krishna see Krishna as equals. So all the lovers of Krishna, they see him as equal. So because otherwise, with awe and reverence, you cannot have that kind of a relationship. The relationships of a lover or like a fraternity, like a friend or parental relationship. So it's either Krishna's an ordinary person who needs my help, that kind of a relation, or he's equal to me. He's equal to him. So that's how the friends, then only they can play with Krishna, jump over Krishna's shoulders and give Krishna pleasure that way. Because this happens without any sankalpa in them. They don't have the sankalpa that I have to please Krishna and I'm doing this, but it's enacted by the Yogamaya potency. Shantadasye rase aishwarya kahan udvipana vatsalya sakya madhureta kare sankochana. On the transcendental platform of neutrality and service, sometimes the opulence of the Lord is prominent. But in the transcendental mellows of fraternal, parental and conjugal love, the opulence is minimized. Next verse. Vasudeva Devaki Krishna Charana Vandila Aishwarya Jnane Dunhara Mane Bhaya Haila. When Krishna offered prayers at the lotus feet of his mother and father, Vasudeva and Devaki, they both felt awe, reverence and fear due to knowledge of his opulence. So we'll read a couple more verses and then we'll try to understand the last couple of verses. Because really the entire gamut of Krishna's relationships are described. And but we'll just focus on two of them. Like Arjuna's relationship when he got astonished by seeing the universal form, and also we'll focus on Vasudeva and Devaki because their names are stressed here 2 times. Devaki Vasudevascha Vijñāya Jagadīshvaram Krita Samvandanam Putra Shashvajate Nashankitau. When Devaki and Vasudeva understood their 2 sons, Krishna and Balaram, who had paid obeisances to them by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they became fearful and did not embrace them. Then there is one more verse about Arjuna's fear when he saw the Vishwarup. Krishnera Vishwarupa Deki Arjunera Hailabhaya Sakya Bhave Dastya Shamapaya Kariya Vinaya. When Krishna manifested his universal form, Arjuna became reverent and fearful. And he begged forgiveness for his past impudence towards Krishna as a friend. And then the last 2 verses. So these are direct words of Arjuna in Gita. Sanketi matva prashabam yaduktam He Krishna he Yadava he Saketi Ajanatha mahimanam tavedam maya pramadat pranayena vapi yacchavaha sartam asatkritoshi vihara shayashana bhojaneshu ekotavapi achitatat samaksham tat kshamaye tvam ahamaprameyam. So these are the words Arjuna spoke when he was shivering in fear. So he's saying, thinking of you, Krishna, thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend. Not knowing your glories, please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, laying on the same bed or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all of those offenses. So this is Arjuna asking forgiveness from Krishna. After seeing his universal form, Arjuna became fearful of who really Krishna is. Okay. So the verse that is described about how Devaki and Vasudeva, they became fearful and how they did not embrace Krishna and Balaram when they paid obeisances. So that verse is actually a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport. So just to, if you back up the camera a little bit, what happened in the arena. So this really happened in that wrestling arena. Where Krishna had this wrestling match with Kamsa's people and eventually Kamsa himself. So that when Krishna and Balaram and when they assembled in the wrestling arena, so many people, they surrounded them in the city. So also many people came all the way from Vraj, and then they want to see the match because it's a famous thing. It's like this WWF, it's very famous. With Krishna, and in those days also there was wrestling, it seems. So they had this match and all the people were standing and surrounding them. And we'll go to the final part later. But actually what is interesting is when they were standing, even though they were standing as Kshatriyas, very powerful men, very muscular, so much power that they could wrestle with people who were Kamsa's people. So the different people, even when they were seeing Krishna, they were seeing differently. So because these verses talk about so many relationships with Krishna, some with awe and reverence, some without awe and reverence, and then loving relationships of lover, friends, parents and everything. There is one description there by Shukdev Goswami to Parashit Maharaj about how different people saw Krishna differently in Bhagavatam. So it said that there were many wrestlers also, of course. They were also seeing Krishna because Krishna is so beautiful. Even the enemies, when they see Krishna, they became enticed so much. So the wrestlers, they saw Krishna as a lightning bolt. That's how it's described. They saw Krishna as a lightning bolt. And then all the men of Mathura, they saw Krishna as the best of all males. Best of all males. And the women, they saw Cupid in person. And the cowherd men who were watching, they saw Krishna as their relatives. So they didn't see Krishna as a lightning bolt or anything. They saw my relative is fighting, so like that. And all the empire's rulers who are under the jurisdiction of Kamsa, they saw Krishna as a chastiser. And the parents of Krishna saw them as their child. So here now, the opulence of Krishna is still not there yet. Even though Krishna is there on the wrestling match, Krishna could lose also. So no one knows the outcome. So right now, parents are seeing Krishna as a child. The king of Bhojas, they saw Krishna as death. The unintelligent saw Krishna as another material form. He's just another material form. He's another form, another body, another wrestler. And the yogis, they saw Krishna as the absolute truth. Because that's what they're trying. The yogis, they're trying to attain that absolute truth by so many yogic meditations and practices. And the Vrishnis, they saw as Krishna as the supreme worshipable deity. So in this way, even before the wrestling match began, people are having different type of relationships with the Lord. And the Lord also reciprocated with them lovingly. Because he made everyone feel that they are very special. They had a very special relationship with him. So there was no question of jealousy or envy. So everyone felt very special in their relationship. So then the wrestling match happened, and we know that Krishna killed Kamsa at the end. And then after that, what happened was a lot of kettle drums, they resounded in the sky. And Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all the other devatas, demigods, all the expansions of the Lord, what they all did is they rained flowers upon them with a lot of pleasure. And they all chanted mantras, they chanted his praise. And all the wives of the demigods and gods, they all danced in ecstasy. So at this time what happened was, because Kamsa was killed, he had many wives, and they all now became widows. And they came forward now at this moment. And then their eyes were filled with tears, and they were sobbing and literally beating their heads. They mentioned how the beautiful city now has lost its beauty, because their wives naturally very attached to him. And so just as we have lost our beauty now, the city has lost its beauty, they mentioned. And our good fortune and all the good fortune of the city has come to an end. So actually what they say sounds very opposite, because Kamsa was causing trouble to innocent people, killing their babies with the fear that one of them will be Krishna, and he caused so much atrocities. But still these ladies were saying the opposite actually. So that's natural, that when someone is attached, they become blind of the reality. There's a lot of experience. We can know that. By living in this material world, anyone can understand that. So while saying this, and then what they said was, they started speaking differently suddenly. They started saying that all the fortune has come to an end, and you have been brought to this state because of the terrible violence that you committed against innocent creatures. And the mentality shifted now. And then how can one attain happiness if they commit such violence to innocent creatures? So how can one be happy? How can anyone who harms others be happy? That's what is their statement. So now they are speaking, they're speaking now practical wisdom. They're speaking truths of Vedanta now. And then they started saying, Lord Krishna, he's the one who causes all the appearance and disappearance of all human beings, all the beings, not just human beings, all the beings. And he is the maintainer. And they said that anyone who disrespects them, anyone who disrespects this Lord, such a person cannot be happy. So then they said, you have met your end. So this way, the way they were crying, their voice and their understanding and their mood shifted so much, and that is because of Krishna's association that the shift happened. They got purified by the association of Krishna. So now after this, Krishna, he consoled them, and that he told them that you have met with great misfortune today. So even though Kamsa's pretty much like Krishna's enemy here, but he had a lot of compassion for them, and he assured them that it's my obligation to protect you, and you should not worry. And in this way, he consoled, and Krishna himself arranged for the funeral rites and everything. So this is how amazing Krishna is, that he killed Kamsa and he's arranging the funeral rites as well, and he's consoling Kamsa's wives and giving them assurance that he will protect them. He will protect them. So just after this happened. This incident happened about with Devaki and Vasudeva. Just after this incident, just right after that moment. So I thought it's good to meditate on that entire scene in Krishna's pastime. So then Krishna and Balram, they now released Vasudeva and Devaki from the bondage that they were under Kamsa, and he offered obeisances and he touched their feet on his head. So now at this time, Devaki and Vasudeva, they remembered all the events that were related to Krishna's birth. So because they remember how Krishna, he appeared with a four-armed Narayana form. So that is the protocol, that he appears like that to let everyone know that not an ordinary child has born. So in this way, they recalled all those things. So, special. But that, just imagine when a baby just came out of the womb and having four arms, it will freak anyone out. And this is what they were like astonished at that time itself. And they recalled all those things. And they witnessed the immense power of Krishna now after the wrestling match when he killed Kamsa. Immense power, amazing power that they witnessed the power. And because they saw the Lord of the universe, they saw Jagadishvara. Because of that, they saw the Lord. They just could not embrace Krishna. They couldn't embrace him, because once that knowledge is there, then this it cripples the love. It cripples the Vatsalya Bhav when that knowledge is there. So that's what happened. It crippled their Vatsalya Bhav. And they also couldn't. They wanted to bow down, but they couldn't bow down. It's not possible, because it's not a very custom for parents to bow down to their children. It's the other way around. So they didn't bow down. And so they were just paralyzed in fear. They stood paralyzed in fear with the joined palms. They couldn't embrace, they couldn't bow down because of this jnata, the knowledge, the gyan that, he is the Lord. He is the Lord of the universe. This verse says Jagadishvara, Lord of the universe. So that's the scene of Devaki and Vasudeva. And then further talks about there is also a description of Yashoda Devi when she got astonished. She also got astonished at we know that how when she saw the entire Brahmanda under Krishna's mouth, she got astonished. But there is one other time where she got astonished, when she witnessed the universal form while feeding Krishna with her breast milk. We'll come to that later after we talk a little bit about Arjuna's astonishment, because the reason why they are mentioned side by side in Chaitanya Charitamrita is because they both saw the universal form, Yashoda and Arjuna, and how they were in awe and reverence. So there's a verse, that Gita verses that we saw in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Arjuna got astonished. Arjuna was saying that, I was thinking you as a friend by calling you jokingly, "Oh Yadava, oh my friend, oh Krishna," so like that. So Arjuna, when he saw those 1,000 heads, he started praising and offering these respects. So now initially Arjuna had a friendship, a friendly relation, pranaya relation, and now that became mixed with knowledge after seeing Krishna with 1,000 heads, the millions of all this ghastly form. So many universes coming out, going in, people coming out, going in the teeth of the Lord. And then he saw even time personified. So like this, Arjuna, now his friendship, his pranaya is mixed with jnata of the Lord. So that's what the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, knowledge of the supremacy of the Lord, that got mixed in right now. So that's why now he is in fear. So then he was saying that I was seeing you without this knowledge. I was behaving with you, addressing you, treating you without this knowledge. He uses the word ajnata. Ajnanata. Ajnanata means without realization. Ajnanata. So generally people think Gyan means knowledge and the realization is something separate, but they both are tied together. Because if without realization, then it's really called no knowledge. Knowledge means with realization. So ajnanata means without realization. So I was thinking of you as only my friend, without realizing your supremacy. And then your greatness, he says that the greatness of your universal form with 1,000 heads. By seeing your greatness, I realized that I was speaking to you very carelessly, very disrespectfully. He uses the word pramada, disrespectfully. And he also was mentioning that I was doing this out of affection as a friend. Pranayena. So disrespectfully, I was treating you with affection, but disrespectfully. And now I'm begging forgiveness. So what he said was he called Krishna just Krishna. So, but he has to really address with the prefix Sri, otherwise it's disrespectful. In the Vedic culture, one has to address with the prefix Sri. So instead of calling Sri Krishna, he showed Krishna. He said, "Oh Krishna." So that's an act of disrespect. He realized that. And then he realized that I have addressed you as "Oh Yadava." So even "Oh Yadava" is disrespectful, because that's not how people are called. In Yadava, for example, there is another person in Yadava who's a prominent person. He should be called as "Oh best of the Yadus." "Oh best of the Yadus." That's how he should have addressed. But instead he disrespectfully addressed "Oh Yadava." He didn't announce Krishna's high position in that family. Krishna had a very high position in that family. He should say "Oh best of the Yadus." So that's another mistake. And then by addressing him as friend is also disrespectful. I addressed you as a friend, which is disrespectful, Arjuna feels. It's because whenever friends behave with each other, they treat themselves as equal. If they treat themselves as subordinate or superior, that is not friendship. That is called guru-disciple, master-servant relationship. So friends means treat everyone as equal. So I called you as friend, and that is disrespectful because I treated you as my equal. So he's feeling remorse for that. So and then he further goes on that talking about playing, resting, sitting, eating, joking, and then speaking in a very straightforward way. Because a respectful way of speaking is to speak in a very suggestive, indirect way. When we speak to some big person, we shouldn't speak straightforward. We have to be politically correct also. So, but he was very straightforward and truthful, very open, and this way I insulted you. I insulted you not only alone, but I insulted you even in the presence of all other friends, joking friends. He says, Tat samaksham. In between all the friends, I disrespected you. So then he says, for this treatment I gave you, which is offensive, please forgive me. He asked 1,000 times forgiveness. And then he feels that you are but you remained a friend unfailingly in spite of all that. He mentions a word called aprameyam. Aprameyam is inconceivable power. Inconceivable power. So he signals that you remained a friend unfailingly, even after you endured all these offenses that I committed. And that is only possible. That is only possible. Because generally people will get offended if someone breaches the protocol. But you remained an unfailing friend. It's possible only because of your inconceivable power. So, that is why we use the word achintya so much, very inconceivable. Here Arjuna uses the word aprameyam, inconceivable power. But there is a reason for the familiarity also. Because the familiarity that Arjuna had is normal actually in one sense, from another point of view. So it is, so Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan, he talks in this way, the one that we just described. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he starts to look at another angle. So, because if VCT, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also uses the same point of view, then that doesn't increase the pleasure of understanding of Krishna. So he describes, he understands Arjuna's feelings and he supports Arjuna for his familiarity. So the reason Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur he gives is he says, "Oh Krishna, you are the well-known son of Vasudeva, who is not famous. So you are not famous. You are well-known son of Vasudeva. You are not so famous because you are just a son of Vasudeva. Vasudeva is famous because you are still a small boy like that. I know you are a human. You are a mediocre fighter. You are a mediocre fighter because Krishna was not known as a great fighter or anything. He was a great person, but still, he had his superiors. But Arjuna was known as a great fighter. Arjuna was very famous like that. So even Krishna is praising Arjuna that, oh best of the, like that. Why should Krishna do that? So because really Arjuna was a great person. So it's possible to develop familiarity. You are a mediocre fighter. And one reason for labeling Krishna as a mediocre fighter is Krishna is not sitting on his own chariot at that moment. When Krishna was, when Bhagavad Gita was spoken, Krishna was sitting not on his own chariot. He's sitting on the chariot of another person, of Arjuna. So the chariot, if it is one's own chariot, it's called Atirata. If it is another person's chariot, it's called Ardharata. Vishwanath says that. So you are sitting in another. He was sitting in another person's chariot. So and there is an excuse for familiarity. This is how he analyzes. And but Arjuna, I am Arjuna. I am the son of a King Pandu. He is a great warrior. I'm a great warrior, fighting on my own chariot, Atiratha. Then, Yadava, you don't have a king's position in Yadu dynasty. Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, I didn't have a king's position in Yadu's dynasty, but I had a kingship over Puru dynasty. So like that, giving an excuse for familiarity. VCT is going into the mind of Arjuna. So there is a reason for that familiarity. But after seeing the universal form, everything changes. Everything changes. So let's look at the difference between the devotees in Gokula Vrindavan, their mentality, and the devotees outside that region, their mentality, in terms of this awe, reverence. So what will happen if universal form is shown to any one of those Gokula devotees? Of course, we can analyze for many devotees, or acharyas must have done the work. But let's take one example here, because Yashoda Devi is described, and Arjuna is also described. So when Yashoda Devi, when she saw the universe in Krishna's mouth, her heart started throbbing. When she was feeding Krishna with her breast milk, and Krishna opened his mouth, at that time also she once again saw the universal form. And her heart started throbbing. She became restless and she closed her eyes. And we can see the different verses in Bhagavatam that talks about this. So instead of just describing the verse, I will just go ahead and read the verse from the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami. What could be better than that? So this is in 10th canto, 8th chapter. Mother Yashoda began to argue with herself when she became astonished, when she saw that while feeding milk to Krishna. And she started saying, is this a dream or is it an illusory creation by the external energy? Has this been manifested by my own intelligence or is it some mystic power of my dear child? Therefore, let me surrender unto this Supreme Personality of God and offer my obeisances unto Him. So this is what Yashoda is saying. Okay, I'll stop. Who is beyond the conception of human speculation, the mind, activities, words, and arguments, who is the original cause of this cosmic manifestation, by whom the entire cosmos is maintained, and by whom we can conceive of His existence. Let me simply offer my obeisances, for He is beyond my contemplation, speculation, and meditation. He is beyond all of my material activities as well. It is by the influence of the Supreme Lord's Maya that I am wrongly thinking that Nanda Maharaja is my husband, that Krishna is my son, and that because I am the queen of Nanda Maharaja, all the wealth of cows and calves are my possessions, and all the cowherd men and their wives are my subjects. Actually, I am also eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord. He is my ultimate shelter. Mother Yashoda, by the grace of the Lord, could understand the real truth. But then again, the Supreme Master, by the influence of the internal potency, Yoga Maya, inspired her to become absorbed in intense maternal affection for her son. Immediately forgetting Yoga Maya's illusion that Krishna had shown the universal form within his mouth, Mother Yashoda took her son on her lap just as before, feeling increased affection in her heart for her transcendental child. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literatures. Yet Mother Yashoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. So here we can see how there is a shift happening. Mother Yashoda also became astonished, just like Arjuna. Oh no, this is my Supreme Lord. I am in illusion thinking that this Nanda is my husband, this Krishna is my son, and all this cowherd community are under me, under our family, like under our rulership, under our protection shelter. I'm just an illusion. So I'm just a subordinate servant of Krishna. I'm not all these things. That's what she's saying. And then gradually, by the influence of Yoga Maya, it says Yoga Maya inspired her to become absorbed in intense maternal affection for her son. So we can see how a lot of times it's thought that bhakti is something done by willpower. But no. Bhakti is the influence of Swarup Shakti that's in the internal potency. Of course, a person has to be sincere, one who's aspiring for it. But really, it's bhakti that influences a person. The person becomes sincere and person can desire that. But actually, the Bhakti Devi has to cast her grace and mercy on the person. So, for the case of Arjuna, he got stunned as well. He got this lot of fear. But then again, he preferred to see the two-handed form, and then, but still Arjuna could remember that all of those, all the shock and astonishment that he had. And then he surrendered to the Lord. He surrendered. He's saying, you are my guru, I am your disciple. So what happened? That friendship shifted to guru-disciple kind of a relationship, master-servant relationship with awe and reverence. And he is still a friend, but mixed with the knowledge. But here what Yogamaya did was, Yogamaya completely cast off that feeling. So it's not that Mother Yashoda started saying, now I'm your disciple, you are my guru. No, Mother Yashoda was cast by Yogamaya. And then again she became, she got increased affection as a mother. That's what it says here. Feeling increased affection in her heart for her transcendental child. So one may question, what is the purpose of showing this Vishwarup to Mother Yashoda, if anyway it cannot do anything to that, anything to her feelings? Because in the end, again, she got increased affection. Yeah, that is one thing. But it's still the same. Still Vatsalya continued after that. So it was only a temporary phase. Then what is the purpose behind it? What is the purpose behind it? Is it that Krishna is showing his muscles? No. So really, what's happening is there is something called Vishmaya Rasa in the Rasa Tattva. Vishmaya Rasa means rasa of astonishment. Rasa of astonishment. So that is also a feeling in the Rasa theory, that the pleasure potency wants to make Yashoda's love ever new and ever fresh. Ever new and ever fresh. So the modern words, putting a spice in her relationship with Krishna. So by this Vishmaya Rasa, pleasure potency is making her love ever new and ever fresh. So the Rasa of ever fresh, and because Yashoda Maya is not tasting the other side of Krishna, which is the Krishna's Aishwarya Shakti. So by adding this Vishmaya Rasa, the Rasa of astonishment, pleasure potency is making Yashoda taste Aishwarya Shakti, Krishna's Aishwarya Shakti. And then by making her taste this just a little bit, pleasure potency is increasing her love, making it ever new and ever fresh. That is the reasoning given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And another reason is the obvious reason, to establish the supremacy of Vatsalya Bhava over Aishwarya Bhava. Because if Mother Yashoda now got completely enamored by the Aishwarya Bhava of the Lord by looking at this, and from now on, He is my Lord, I am subordinate, I am a surrendered soul. If she continues on like that, then it is obvious that Aishwarya Bhav is superior to Vatsalya Bhav. But here, just to establish the fact that Vatsalya Bhav is superior over Aishwarya Bhav, this kind of thing is added in between. And then Vatsalya Bhav increased after this because of Vishmaya Rasa. So by this adding of spice, Vatsalya Bhav increased. So this is again to prove this fact that this pastimes was enacted by the pleasure potency, by the Yogamaya potency. So just this difference between the different devotees and their moods, which are equally pleasing to Krishna. And of course, Krishna has things that are very dear to him, no doubt. But to limited way that we can grasp these things, it's very sweet to know about them. Okay, I think I can stop this here. Jai Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam to Srila Prabhupada. First of all, thank you so much for a very, very interesting class. As usual, I get to learn a lot when you speak. I have some comments and a question. I won't say question, but I just want you to correct my understanding, whether the way I've understood this correct. So first of all, the comments, Prabhu, it was very nice to hear about how Arjuna was actually, he changed his mood when you were talking. When that verse talks about Arjuna changing his mood. So Arjuna was calling him. Arjuna said, "I had previously called you, Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava." You explained that very well. Why, it should actually be. He should rather be addressed as best of the Yadavas or properly with respect as Krishna. But Arjuna was doing that because out of his familiarity, and he knew that he was a great fighter, whereas Krishna was not really well known as a great fighter, or he was not recorded in that sense. So that was a very beautiful explanation, and it was very, very sweet to know that. One more, and also I was just thinking about Krishna, when you were mentioning about this relationship with Arjuna, and then later how Arjuna saw the universal form and his mood changed. I was just thinking about Krishna. Actually, when you talk with your superiors, you were mentioning this, you give a lot of respect, you don't take them very casually. So it is so interesting how Krishna himself, who's God, I mean, like if someone does that to us, I was thinking probably, it may be like, in a derogatory manner if someone talks to us, like at least me or anyone like that, normal people we find it very awkward. And we think, oh, why is this person talking like this? We have so much ego, But whereas here is Krishna, who's the Supreme Lord, and he's so happy about it.
Yes.
So I was thinking that's so nice. The Lord is so magnanimous. He's so wonderful. And there is so much, the Lord actually should have the maximum ego because he's everything. But the Lord doesn't have ego. I mean, ego in the pride of being the greatest. So that is so nice. It's so heart-melting, actually. And then, you were saying bhakti is not by willpower, but it is by the mercy of Bhakti Devi. That is also very, very beautiful, the way Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you were actually quoting him, and his realization. That was beautiful, Prabhu. So now comes my question, understanding to discuss, is that when comparing between Yogamaya Shakti, that is taking over Yashoda Devi, that is Yashoda Devi's reaction versus Devaki's reaction. Now, you said Devaki's reaction. This is, of course, this is how everything is understood in a general sense, that Devaki had this Aishwarya. She had this awe and reverence, and hence she couldn't embrace her child, and as the verse was saying. But whereas Yashoda, when she saw the universal form, Yogamaya took over, and then she came back and she thought, this is my child, right? So now it comes to the, my question is then, it is not the fault of Devaki's Aishwarya, but rather it is, I would say, I mean, like just for argument's sake, I'm saying, isn't it not Yogamaya who's favoring Yashoda over Devaki? If the same Yogamaya tried to favor Devaki, then even Devaki would have gone back to losing her Aishwarya feeling, right?
Yes,
that is what, so is it
right, that is right.
That was actually acting on Yashoda rather than the Yogamaya potency? How do you explain that, Prabhu? Can you elaborate on that?
When it was Vasudeva and Devaki, let's say that, so ultimately the behavior that they showed and how Yogamaya is also enacting, it ultimately depends on the knowledge of the person. That's why it is said that everything is knowledge, right? Gyan. So when the knowledge arises in the person that this Lord is Supreme Lord, then immediately that awe and reverence increases. So really what Yogamaya is doing is she is taking that knowledge off for Yashoda. But she did not do that for Devaki and Vasudeva, because for Devaki and Vasudeva, the way they worship the Lord in their sadhana, the way they worship the Lord is not with this mode. They didn't worship, but there's not, Krishna is pretty much, Yogamaya and Krishna, they're giving what they want actually. Oh. They wanted, they did not worship with that mode of, the foster son of Yashoda. They did not worship in that mode. They were worshipping, this is the Supreme Lord. I want the Supreme Lord to be my son. That's all. Their goal and their desire was not that I want to play with him, I want to feed him, I want to make him sleep, I want to cuddle him, I want to have, and I want to give him butter, I want to have. They did not have that kind of desire. They want the Supreme Lord to be their son. That's all. So right. They are being satisfied with that. So Krishna is reciprocating with them accordingly, and Yogamaya is facilitating it accordingly. They wanted to have that awe and reverence, because as it is said that in order to get this kind of Gokula love of Krishna, it can only be attained by the mercy of those devotees. But if someone sits and does penance, then that is not possible. There's an example given about Lakshmi Devi to enter Rasa dance. So by doing penance and austerities, which they did, it's not possible to attain the Gokula mode. So that's they have to get their mercy in order to get that mood. But again, that's not what they were desiring also.
Right.
Krishna doesn't give it to them. Yogamaya doesn't give it. It's only by the mercy of those devotees in Gokula one can get it.
Okay, I understand. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. This was very clear. So coming back to this Vishmaya Rasa which you were talking about with Yashoda. So basically Yashoda's awe and reverence at that point in time was just that Vishmaya Rasa to increase her excitement or increase her love for Krishna. That's all. It was not like the same awe and reverence that Devaki had. So that is the point you were trying to make?
Yes, that's what the verse mentions. After that, there are 3 verses that talks about how her love increased and her affection, motherly affection increased. Instead of going towards the Aishwarya side, it went more towards the Vatsalya side. So therefore, it is a Vishmaya.
Oh, fantastic.
Vishmaya Rasa. Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah,
I really like the way you... Even this was also very nice when you were talking about what they desire previously and then how Yogamaya just facilitates that. So that made a lot of sense. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Very, very, very beautiful class. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All praise to Vishwanath Chakravarti Baladevi Devanshu. Hare Bol.
Hare Bol. Thank you.
Okay, anyone would like to add anything or we can wrap up?
Anyone else has any questions or comments? Okay. Then we can end the class. Thank you so much, Prabhu, again. Thank you everyone who joined. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vranda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Bhaktivinode Prabhu ki jai. Hare.
All Vaishnava Samaloti. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Bol.